talked to over 1,056 different marketing agencies and experts to this day and realized that 89% of them have no idea what they're doing, and the remaining 11% are good at one to three things.
Hello, everyone. Today, my podcast guest is Behdad from CJAM, the Marketing Connector. Behdad, thank you for joining us. Please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about your company.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Carl. I'm excited to be here. Um, the 1 minute background of what I do. I used to be an engineer, a sales engineer for a pretty large telecom company, and a lot of my work was back in the day working with B2B companies, anywhere from about 50 to 1,000 type employee range, understanding like what's going on from a C-level perspective, IT perspective, and then building out technology roadmaps. So I got to work with really cool customers like the Lushes of the world, law firms, not-for-profits, manufacturing, and a lot of my business consulting, sales, leadership, and technology experience came from that. But fast forward a little bit, I started going into marketing about 6.5 years ago, building out websites, Google Ads, SEO. And I got to a point where I really just didn't enjoy doing 80-hour websites on a weekend. I was always a curious guy, I always liked to do new things. And as I went through it, I started actually thinking, is there marketing agencies I could pass the work off to? Customers need certain things, find the agencies and match them.
hmm
And I ended up realizing very quickly that marketing agencies didn't really understand business and businesses didn't really understand marketing. And so doing that matchmaking was always really hard because you'd have people in the same meeting, they didn't speak the same language. And ultimately, there's, I've talked to over 1,056 different marketing agencies and experts to this day and realized that 89% of them have no idea what they're doing, and the remaining 11% are good at one to three things. And I just created an entire business around matchmaking businesses to the right marketing agencies and experts based on what they really need, and then finding who are the right people to match them with.
Awesome, man. So pretty much we should think of you as like, kind of the Tinder or the Bumble of the agency and marketing. I mean, marketing agencies and clients, huh?
Yeah, I hope the higher version of that, the paid top notch version of that, like matchmaking.
Yes, yes. All right. I mean, listen, awesome. So, and when did you say you created CGEM?
It's about 6.5 years ago now. Started in 2019.
Awesome. And how many matches have you created since?
Hundreds, hundreds since that. I don't have full track of it, but it is in the
Okay.
database.
Yeah, I mean, if it's in the hundreds, I don't blame you for not keeping track, but that's pretty amazing. So I've interviewed a lot of, brand agency, I'm sorry, a lot of marketing agencies, CEOs, founders, and also some businesses who need help from these. And the fact that you're able to bring the two together, definitely a unique idea. I don't know of any other companies that do what you do. But so tell me more about this process. So how does it work from start to end?
Yeah, so typically, I mean, there's two ends of it, right? Like you're a two-sided marketplace with a human in the middle. So when businesses come to me, the first thing is I need to understand the business, right? So back when I used to work for Telus, I used to work with pretty large businesses. A lot of what we used to do is understand the business from the inside out. Like, what's the vision? Where are you headed? What kind of resources do you have? What environmental factors are being played into it? Like understanding the full business and going, okay, based on that, how does marketing fit in for like your next stage of growth? And so it'll always start with a discovery session to really understand what the business needs, and then building out a plan of like, okay, based on what you have, either we need strategy, either we need better execution. We'll figure that out, and then I go and find the partners to match make them with. And then on the other end, on the marketplace, I've just over the last 6.5 years talked to so many different marketing agencies, and I have a three-step process. So I always will have an initial conversation with marketing agencies. Having talked to enough of them, you can pick up on red flags pretty quickly. So either it'll be a 30-minute call and I'm like, okay, I don't think this is a fit, or it's a 30-minute call where I'm like, okay, I think we should explore deeper because it sounds like you're a better agency. Um, and then from there, I review their work. And so I say, based on our first call, you said you do these things, show me examples, how you do it,
hmm
cost range. And then if all that looks good, I do a further deep dive, which is about 30 to 35 questions that I go through with an agency to make sure that they are a fit and I understand them inside and out. And so
So
that's the
I'm
first
sorry.
process.
I'm going to jump in here quickly for listeners for who are potentially agencies. How do you pick up in the first the first few minutes that they're a no go? How do you pick up what red flags? What do these red flags look like?
Yeah, there's quite a few. I'll give you a couple of them. One of
hmm
them is like you hear someone say, "Well, I just started an agency, but I've been around for 10 years. Like I've been doing marketing for 10 years, but my agency's been around for 1 year." So typically these people have either worked in another marketing agency and they were like the Google Ads manager or the Facebook Ads manager, or they ran social media, and they were just like, I don't like the agency, I'm going to go run my own thing. And so they might have 10 years of experience in what they do within an agency, but they only have 1 year of experience actually running a business, which is a marketing agency. So that's like one of the key tells that you can tell like what level people are at. Then you start talking to some of the bigger marketing agencies that go like, oh, we have an entire sales team, we're growing this fast. And just the other day, I heard someone that's like growing 200% year over year. And I was like, you're a large agency and you're growing 200% year over year. Like, you're not a SaaS business, right? Like, for
Hmm.
agencies to grow, they have to actually grow with people. And
Yeah,
growing with
yeah,
people is hard. Every single time you hire someone, it takes them 3 to 6 months to ramp up. And so when you hear like excessive growth like that, that's usually a telltale sign to me that like things are likely going to break and they're not running as efficiently as they possibly could be, because usually agencies need to be growing between 10 and 20% a year. That's like the normal rate
yeah,
of
yeah,
growth, not given the environment we're currently in, because most people are just trying to stay stable.
yeah, yeah. Nah, interesting, interesting. Good to know. Good to know. So now we discussed about a little bit about these red flags, but now when you have a brand that, first of all, how do brands typically find you guys? Is it word of mouth, or they Google like and then they get targeted by ads?
It's a mixture of things. So people typically find me through referral networks, right? Whether it's agencies or other businesses that have used me, or all the different events and conferences that I go to. So just kind of built a name for myself in this space. People from different communities, right? Whether they're on Facebook communities or hidden Slack communities, or within
Mhm.
different groups that I'm a part of. That's how people typically will find me. I write content 5 days a week. Um, I have
Nice.
cold email going out. I have an email newsletter. So I have like a whole bunch of marketing channels kind of running for my own stuff, and that's how
Hmm.
I get my leads and my customers that come to me. And yeah, and then we kind of work from
Okay, nice. So you mentioned you've placed, hundreds of agencies with businesses. What's the most, what's the biggest mistakes that you see brands make when choosing a marketing partner?
there. Yeah, there's so many. One is that they just don't have the time for the agency that they're about to hire, right? So most people think like I can hire someone and just offload everything and I can call it a day. And so they typically will hire a marketing agency thinking they're hiring them for strategy, but really most marketing agencies, like 95+% of them, only can do execution. And so a
Hmm.
business doesn't actually have a proper marketing strategy before they're hiring the executors, and that's why it ends up failing so many times. People will use their own network to try to find marketing agencies, which is very limited, right? Like if you don't have a network in marketing, you're going to ask other business owners and they're going to give you their small network. And so you end up with just like, let's say, a list of 5 agencies that are just not very good. And so you choose the best of five. That's not very good. Usually I got to go through 15 agencies before I find one that I like. And that's
Mm.
within a network of people that have already vetted these people. And I'm like, you're not at the level that I need. And so right off the bat, they just don't talk to enough people. Um, so there's kind of like
Gotcha.
two of the plays.
Uh-huh. And so these clients who come to you from these brands, these businesses, do you feel are they typically from a specific industry, or do you work with like multiple different industries?
I work with multiple different industries, and the reason why is because I just get bored if I'm focused on one niche. That's the upfront answer of that.
Hmm.
So I've worked with like e-commerce businesses, SaaS businesses, service-based, online digital businesses, accounting firms, law firms, all that different kind of stuff. So I have like a whole wide range of different partners that I work with.
Yeah, yeah.
One of our biggest customers is in the app space, right? They built out a health app, and just like a whole go-to-market strategy, how you kind of build up the entire like back-end marketing strategy so that when they launch, they move forward. And a lot of that stuff could even be like guerrilla type tactics, right? Like where you're going to universities and implanting this app, getting people excited about it, and building it up.
Hmm.
People don't think that there are those types of marketing agencies.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
not cheap, but they definitely work.
So let's focus on e-commerce for a bit. You mentioned e-commerce. So for example, I constantly get hit by ads saying, "Hey, listen, I can get you. This is what I've done on Amazon. They have a screenshot of like how much sales they've made. Oh, I can get you there. Also, partner with my agency. I'll get you there." So, what are your thoughts on these?
It depends on who's doing the outreach and what level they're doing it at, right? Like there's so many, like let's just take like ecom marketing agencies, right? The way that I think
Hmm.
about them is like I would say find specialty people, right? Like so if someone's like really 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 good at like Google ads or Facebook ads, and like hire those specific people because you're going to get more out from them. one of
Hmm.
the things when you're vetting those types of agencies, people will say like, yeah, we do all paid media. We do Google Ads, Facebook, things on Reddit. Maybe we even do Twitter. But then you have to ask the question of like, what percentage of the current customers you have are doing Google versus Facebook versus whatever? And you might
Hmm.
get an answer of like, oh, we actually do 85% Google and only 15% Facebook. And you're like, okay, so your strength is really Google potentially. Your strength is really Google potentially, and not Facebook. And then,
Hmm.
like, let's say you're talking to like a Facebook e-commerce agency, you have to ask the questions of like, who's doing the videos? Are you just editing? Do you provide any strategic guidance on the creative? Like, how do you actually measure like success in an ad, right? Like,
Hmm.
there are guys that have software systems where they will look in the back end to see where people fall off within an ad and then change it and change the testing. Not every agency does that. Like, all the average ones don't. And so my whole thinking when it comes to like e-commerce and finding the right marketing agencies is find very niche and specific marketing agencies that fit for what you're looking to do on your overall marketing
Gotcha.
strategy versus trying to hire one agency to do it all. And so typically
Okay.
with e-com businesses that I've worked with, I'm either matching them with like different people for like Google and Facebook ads, email marketing, SEO, and then all the other pieces. Well, you can have like the affiliate and the influencer play, but it depends on how
Hmm.
it fits into the overall strategy.
Nice. Okay. And most people, you feel like a lot of the agencies that you partner with, are they based in the North America, Asia? Like, who do you source from?
Yeah, North America typically, like my network is the most strong in the U.S.
Okay.
And then I have Canadian-based agencies, then European-based agencies, and some agencies based in Australia. Nothing in Asia.
Okay.
Yeah,
So, I mean, obviously, I think we all have heard it. Asia, cheaper labor, typically. So a lot of people will go there. So, what's your perspective on that? Is it a good thing, or you think the quality can be is better in North America?
no, so I don't think it's a bad thing, but at the same time, I think it's very very difficult to find people that are good over there. I think
Okay.
because there's a whole different types of culture, they don't understand our environment very well. The way people say, talk, think, it's hard to really connect. But I do think that there are a lot of businesses that have successfully built like marketing functions with outsourced resources there, not agencies, but more outsourced resources there, because they can then integrate them into their own culture and kind of train them up. Um,
Yep, yep.
but yeah, that's typically why I don't play in the more outsourced space, is because it's so
Mhm.
difficult to find the good people, because it's already difficult to find people in North America,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right?
I mean, just based on what you just said, like you enlightened me on so many different things. The red flags, the right questions to ask. Because to your point about like the Google ads versus Facebook, etc. To me, that's like, oh yeah, if they tell me they run ads, then good, they're good to go. But to your point, if they tell you, hey, 85% of my clients I do Google ads for, well, can I trust you with Facebook ads? So now, to take it because of your experience talking to all these people, you've definitely gained quite a bit of knowledge when it comes to the power of Google ads, Facebook ads, cold emails, etc. And also tying that to your previous experiences. What would you say is the most like for you if a business tells you, hey, listen, I'm not an expert, but I'm looking to really grow my business. I don't care if it's like Google ads, Facebook ads, etc. Would you recommend a specific one in a specific agency based on that, or what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, so typically that'll depend on the size of business, right? So, like, case in point, I
Hmm.
just had a customer last week who came to me and said, "Hey, Behdad, we're doing about $6 million a year. We kind of broker between customers and finding like the right automotive services for them, whether it's buying tires or fixing the car or whatever it is." And as they told me what they were doing, like they already had Facebook ads running, they had Google ads running a little bit, and they had an email list where they were sending some promotions out, and it all seemed to kind of be working. But what they were missing was actually the marketing strategy. It's like we don't actually know how we can scale past the $6 million mark. Because I mean, I could bring someone in to execute better on your Facebook ads. I could bring someone in to execute better on your email marketing. I could potentially give you someone to do influencer marketing and get the word out. But ultimately, we're just throwing a bunch of things at the wall again without actually figuring out what you truly need and building out a strategy that then we can go based off and be like, based on the overall strategy, this is who we're going to hire to kind of move that strategy forward, and then having something you can come back to and be like, is the strategy working, and then iterating on it, right? That's kind of what was
Hmm.
missing. So for my recommendation for them was like, hey, let me actually get you a fractional CMO, like a chief marketing officer, to come in, build out a strategy, and then you can start either building your team internally or with outsourced resources that I can help support with, so that we can move you forward. Because to get to that kind of 7 figure range, you do have to throw a bunch of things at the wall and find a channel or two that work. But once you get there, now it's all about like getting your brand really in line, and then knowing your marketing strategy, and then implementing ruthlessly on it and iterating on it to get to that next level. Um,
Hmm.
and so that's the answer to the question really depends on the size of the
Yeah.
business, where they're at, and what we're trying to test.
Gotcha, gotcha. No, makes sense. So, I mean, listen, this was a good example. Now, going back to e-commerce, I think what I've seen, what I've read is that a lot of people, when Amazon was still new-ish, I'm talking about like, way before COVID, like 2018, 2019, people would just do Amazon and some of them would be completely satisfied. But I think now what I'm hearing from multiple sellers is that, hey, there's a lot of competition coming, especially like, from Asia, people just copying the products, etc. So now people have e-commerce brands have to branch out and to Shopify, other platform, etc. What would you say is a typical like marketing budget that you see businesses put out for different platforms instead of just Amazon?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends, right? Like, so some of my customers are in that like $10 to $30 million range, and so they could be spending
Hmm.
$10 to $12,000 just on SEO, right? And then they're spending
Yeah,
$50 to $100,000 on just like paid ads, and then they're
yeah,
spending even more money on like the conversion rate optimization because when they're bringing people in, they want to make sure that they're converting. And then you have like email marketing, where I mean, that can cost anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 a month based on how many emails you're sending out, right?
yeah, yeah,
So it adds up very fast
yeah, yeah.
when you're kind of going through it. If you're like a smaller business, that's a little bit different, right? Like if you're in that like six figure, low seven figure range, like your budget might really only be like 10 to 20 grand a month overall, right? And most of
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
probably going to ads. And so in those scenarios, you're thinking more about like project based work. Like, how can I actually get someone to build out my email flows and actually give me a campaign strategy that my internal team can run, whether it's an outsourced resource or whatever it is, a copywriter, to kind of just be more efficient around it. So like when you're growing from small up, a lot of the work that you do is kind of like more project based and trying to have their in-house resources take it. And then as you get bigger and bigger, you start getting more specialized and specialized agencies to run it, and then you need someone internally to bring them all together, right?
Hmm.
And that's kind of like the bridge. That's where a lot of businesses kind of fail, is where they don't have that like internal marketing resource that understands the overall ecosystem and then knows how to bring
Hmm.
everyone together. Be like, hey, our paid ads are working, our SEO is working. How do we get email tied into this and make sure that we're all on the same page when we're giving out content, right? Um,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
So, so I mean, listen, and I know that. So, I mean, just to close the loop on this question, so there's no real percentage of the revenue that should be placed for ad budget. You haven't really seen that. It
I
varies.
I mean, I'm not
Okay.
an expert in it because at the end of the day, like every business is going to have different profit margins, and so based on different
Hmm.
profit margins, it's going to be like, what should we be spending on it,
Gotcha.
right?
Okay, makes sense. So now, and this is something that I know a lot of people, a lot of our listeners will be curious to hear from an expert like yourself. We hear these terms all the time: Google ads, cold email, Facebook ads. So how do you choose if you don't have the budget for all of them? Like, do you focus on a specific platform or you just like split it equally into all of them?
It depends on the amount of budget that you have, which typically will guide it. Like for example, for someone like me,
Gotcha.
I use a bunch of different channels because I just have the resources of the network to kind of get it at a cost that most people don't see. And so I test out a bunch of different things. But if you're like, hey, I have like $5,000 a month to spend, like one channel makes more sense, right? Like
Gotcha.
you can't split that across three channels and hope that 1,500 2 grand will bring something in. You're just
Mhm.
not targeted enough. My recommendation would be like, find the channel that you really want to figure out and then just focus on that one channel and just keep iterating until you hit it.
Mhm.
You can It's not something that you can like test for 3 months. Like sometimes it takes you a year to figure out the channel. I know people that have built seven-figure businesses, and we're like, hey, it took us 2 years to figure out cold email, right? Because it
Yeah.
keeps changing, algorithms keep changing, the way you get the
Hmm.
inbox changes, the messaging changes, tools change, and so you just have to be mindful that like it takes a long time, and it's all these little micro changes that will likely get you to that place where you can scale.
Makes sense. That's good insight. So, I mean, listen, obviously, this this is or the topic of this channel is AI. Two questions regarding AI. Number one, do you feel like AI will help when it comes to implementation of Google Ads, Facebook ads, etc.? And number two, for yourself, for your company, how have you been able to leverage AI to increase productivity? And what? So we'll stop there, and then I'll keep going with the questions.
Yeah, so I mean, I think it will, but it just depends on how expert the person that's using AI is, right? Like, so at the end of the day,
Hmm.
if you're like an average Google ad and Facebook ad person, I think you're just going to continue to be average. But if you're able to be like you're already at the top level, I'm sure you're going to figure out ways to use AI to basically improve on what you're currently doing because you know what great looks like, whether that's with ideation, whether that's automating certain things. But I think if you just kind of let AI run with just AI, I don't think it's going to work that well. It's just you need to have the
Okay.
expert running it. And I think it'll help with a lot of ideation and testing and creatives and that kind of stuff. Like you can do videos way faster, you can do animations way faster, things that used to take the skills of a programmer or an editor or whatever is no longer there. Like an average person can do it. Like I've seen marketers with no coding background be able to create calculators on websites that used to cost
Mm,
tens of thousands of dollars to do, right? And they're like, we have no coding background. We just basically were using ChatGPT and another platform on basically Lovable, bringing it all together and just
hmm.
going back and forth and help and getting that done. You're like, that's crazy. Uh,
Yeah.
People went to school for that for 4 years. So there's that aspect. And then in terms of
Hmm.
how I'm using AI, I'm still finding and I'm testing a lot of different ways of like what makes sense for me. And
Hmm.
so some of those places that I'm using AI is to really create like content from because I've been doing content for like 2 to 3 years now, so I have a
Hmm.
massive database of just content, how I
Yeah, yeah.
write, how I think, all that different kind of stuff, and getting like engagement becoming more automated in terms of like what would Behdad actually say to this post to support the people that I want to support without me having to put a lot of my
Yeah, yeah.
time into it. And so I have my team working on that and building out basically different GPTs where it has on one side, for example, here's all the things that Behdad's ever written. Here's the type of comments that Behdad usually likes to leave. Combine the both of them and reply to this post on that. And so I don't need to be leaving comments and posts all the time unless it's for like my top people that I want to.
So, go for it. You can finish.
Yeah, no, no, I'm done. I mean, I have other
Okay.
things I'm using AI for, but that's one of the main ways I'm using it here.
Okay, cool. So, I mean, listen, what I've been hearing in this podcast, I've heard in a few episodes, is the impact of AI on really improving productivity, hence the work-life balance. Would you agree?
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
Okay. So, so in that case, you talk to the businesses, you talk to the agencies. There shouldn't be any real concern for AI taking over jobs in the near future.
I wouldn't say that. I think AI will make things more efficient to where you might not need three editors anymore. You might need one editor. You might not need three coders anymore. You might need one coder. I think it is creating efficiencies within companies in a way that you might not need certain people within the company or as many of them in the company. So I wouldn't say that. We'll see kind of where it heads, right? Like we're all kind of seeing
Mhm.
it, but it is shifting a lot of things, and there's certain roles I think or jobs that won't exist anymore because AI is
Yeah.
capable of doing those things.
Yeah. So let's say, for example, if we have a listener, recent grad, marketing background, what would be your recommendation to that person based on what you know that AI can accomplish and the limit that it will pose on like the availabilities for more junior positions?
I would say become a strategic thinker and use AI and like really dive into it. The more you know, the better you're going to be off than the people that don't know it. And really focus on strategy. Like become an expert in your field. Like don't just be average at it, right? Like don't like you're not gonna
Yeah.
average isn't going to survive. It's the people that are like, okay, I want to really figure out copywriting, or I really want to figure out how to make really amazing brands, or whatever it is, and like become the expert in it because that strategic thinking is still going to be needed. And the more you are strategic, I think the better off you're going to be landing positions moving forward.
Awesome. I mean, listen, just to wrap it up here. So what's next for you? You've been matchmaking for a while now. You guys are doing really well. What do you see in the future for CGM marketing?
Yeah, I think the next piece for me is building out. Like I've built CJAM's brand, but the next piece is building out my own personal brand, and what I'm going to be focusing on is around human connection and how to bring humans together. Over
Nice.
the course of the last 6.5 years, I mean, I've built a business just literally by connecting people together. So I've had to connect with both sides, know who needs to connect, and do it all together. And I think that's where my superpower and my genius comes in. And so I want to be speaking a lot more on that, building a brand around that, and helping people kind of just not feel one so isolated, but also to build relationships that they really care about, and build deeper relationships with the people that they care about, and then talking on that content. So that's kind of the next piece.
That's awesome, man. Listen, I'm looking forward to hearing more about this. I know you mentioned that, CJ marketing is a way more expensive version of, the current Tinders and Bumbles of the world. I can only imagine what this next venture will be. So I'm looking forward to potentially having you back here on the podcast to share this with us. But really appreciate your time today and good luck. Good luck with everything.
Great. Thanks for having me, Carl. It was great to be here.
Awesome.